Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. I'm your co-host Ashton here with my awesome co-host Zac. Going the other way. How you doing, Zac? Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We are coming back after some scheduling stuff, working with family and everything, getting ready for the holidays. Going to eat a lot of food, and the Rams also feasted before Thanksgiving, and we'll talk about the breakdown of the Bucs game, Rams dominating win in primetime Sunday Night Football, and preview the Carolina Panthers. How are you doing, Zac? You ready for food this week?
Oh, I'm so ready for food. I'm very divisive on food choices for Thanksgiving. I am definitely in the camp of turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy, cranberry sauce, green beans.
Okay,
those are my staples. Corn rolls.
Okay,
those are my staples.
First off, let's talk gravy. Are you talking about white or brown gravy?
Usually turkey gravy. I mean, I do like
Turkey,
white gravy,
okay.
but that's not usually my Thanksgiving. That's more my, if I'm having like fried chicken or something like that, I'll take a white.
Okay. What's your main favorite side dish outside of like turkey?
I'm a big fan of cranberry sauce. I like that Jello can.
Cranberry sauce. Okay.
I'm a big, my in-laws, I think all make fun of me saying I'm the only one who's going to eat that. I got a can ready to go to take tomorrow. So yeah, that's probably my side dish. I've heard, in the South, they like their mac and cheese, and I think that'd probably be pretty good too.
I've lived in South most of my life, so mac and cheese is my go-to. It is what I load my plate up mostly. And then I'll get some Hawaiian rolls, probably less this year because I'm trying to cut out the carbs. But I'm still going to sneak a few in there and then have that with like Black Forest ham. And I put it in between and put a little mac and cheese on there, make a little slider sandwich. Delicious.
Yeah.
It's always...
Typically, those sliders come in after the fact when we have leftovers, but I'm definitely there with you. I'm not a big ham person, but yeah, I think Thanksgiving is turkey, Christmas can be ham, but that's just my philosophy.
I don't mind turkey. The problem is like it's so hard to cook right. My in-laws do a good job or a great job 9 times out of 10. It's just like turkey is one of the hardest foods for people to get kind of perfect. So if you can do that, great to you. Ham anyway, you can just toss it out of a jar and it's delicious to me. So especially you put a little bit of garlic salt, but
yeah, well, this is a Rams podcast. Maybe we can get everyone from the chat what their favorite dishes we could talk about at the end of the pod. But let's dive into the Rams. The Rams had a dominant victory over the Bucs game. We didn't do an immediate episode after it because it was Sunday Night Football and it's holiday week. So we decided to combine the recap of Sunday Night Football against the Bucs and a preview of Carolina. So we'll start off with the Bucs dominant win. Ashton, how did you feel watching that game unfold?
Weirdly stress-free. And I still had a little like that little voice, the conscience in the back of my mind be like, don't feel comfortable. At any point they can come back. But I kind of knew, especially after Baker went out, the game was practically over at that point, even as the Rams realistically really let their foot off the gas, which we can kind of talk about that in a little bit later, Zac. But I really think this team has to avoid doing that just because that is kind of what lost us the Eagles game on top of special team stuff. But you have to be able to bury these teams and continuously adding points, even if it's just field goals. So some slight issues there because I felt like overall, like, I think McVay tries his best to not bury other teams.
Yeah, I think they tried. Yeah, I think they definitely did try. They put up 31 points in the first half. So you have to be somewhat excited
But
about
only
that. I mean, when
3 in
was
the second half. That's
true, and yeah, we'll dive in the second half and kind of maybe dive into maybe why. But they were lights out the first whole entire half. I mean, not only was the offense, but the defense was just cooking. And again, the defense cooked pretty much the entire game. It was our offense that kind
yeah.
of staggered a little bit in the second half, but again, they did a pretty good job. Really keeping their foot on the table as far as the first half goes. And I can't be more proud of this team. I mean, we're seeing each and every week an improvement of the previous week, and some of the things that we talk about on the podcast is getting fixed. And so that's something that I'm really enjoying seeing. Rams didn't really
Some
have
more
a
than
run
other.
game going. What was that?
I just said some things were getting fixed quicker than others.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
field goal protection issues.
we still have field goal protection issues, but at least we got straight field goal kicks. I mean, I think Melvis did a pretty good job knocking in both of his field goals on top of all the extra points. So very kudos to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and can we talk real quickly about the fact that, yes, that is a pick. It doesn't matter if your knee goes down if you're still bobbling the ball before your knee goes down. Even as you're bobbling the ball and your knee is on the ground, it doesn't matter. You have to, we all know sometimes the refs can be really weird with how they call a catch or not, but it's pretty clearly he doesn't have full possession as the knee is down while it's going down. So, can we all agree? Because me and you will say it's not a good call if we really don't think it is. It doesn't matter if it's the Rams or not. That was a pick six. So, I mean, I don't understand people's issues with that.
Well, especially since a replay assist confirmed it. I mean, it wasn't like
they get stuff wrong too.
I mean, they do, but they've been able to challenge those things even more before and take a closer look and things like that. Sean McVay has, attempted to fix a replay assist. I don't even think it went. I don't think he was successful, but
he wasn't allowed to. Yeah.
But let's talk about Matthew Stafford. He had 25 for 35, 273 yards, averaging 7.8, had 3 TDs, only got 1 sack on him, but in the end had a good rating of 122. Again, another really clean game, no interceptions. So Stafford is just continuing to play at that high elite level. And we knew he had this every season into this. Since he's been a Ram, it's always been the protection problem of the offensive line. And now that we have a really solid offensive line, it's been night and day different into how Matthew Stafford is able to play the game.
Yeah, really handling Vita Vea pretty effectively for most of the doubling him. And, it kind of sucks for him because he's just getting so much attention. He's such a good player, but a really good job by the entire O-line. We can talk about McClendon, just fantastic game. Yeah. 8 out of 10, really good. Not a lot of complaints. He got some push, but Bucs don't have a bad D line. They're not the worst in the world.
I think he only gave up 1 pressure that entire game.
Yeah, and let's be honest about this game. The Bucs are a really battered team. They're not the same team they were earlier in the season. A lot of people know about Buka. None of their wide receivers are really healthy outside of Buka, and we were able to basically double cover him the entire game. And it sucks for him, but we're treating him like a wide receiver 1, and there was no one else on that team that could really get any separation or get any play in the open field. And Cade Otton had probably one of the worst games of his career because of the way we were playing our zones. So it was very
Baker didn't look good from the jump. It looked like he was having some sort of issues.
Pressure issues.
Yeah, and he kept going back to that left shoulder a bit, and then obviously he fell on it again and really kind of messed everything up from there and had to go out and Ted Bridgewater had to come in.
That was the second drive he got sacked and hit a little bit in that shoulder. Yeah. Initial injury, I believe.
Which
So
I don't know if it was a lingering issue that he had a few weeks ago, but it's definitely something,
potentially,
that and obviously we love Baker. I mean, when he was with the Rams for that short stint, he came in, learned the playbook quickly, allowed us to be competitive in that kind of final stretch when we couldn't have Stafford in there, and
we wanted him
Baker
to
finally.
stay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Stafford would have decided to retire at that point, it would have been something that we would have considered. There's a very few quarterbacks that I think right now that I would want as a starter for the Rams, and Baker Mayfield would be on that list for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tough.
Yeah, he's a gamer, but that team is injured up and down. That IR list, they had like the Bucs had 10 players. It's kind of ridiculous. And then not to mention like they're missing their starting left guard, I believe. And it's kind of ridiculous because we haven't got a chance to really talk about the Zach, because me and you didn't really make it a point that we weren't getting sacks, because we both kind of understand, like, guys, we're getting consistent pressure. It's not whether you get sacks or not, because the offense has a say in it too. If the offense is just doing quick screens, quick slants, a lot of quick go routes and stuff like that, you're not going to get sacks. And you saw what, like, Sam Darnold, he was choosing to try to hold the ball and make a play versus getting a sack when he should have. So arguably, those were sacks on paper. Darnold decided to throw it instead, and guess what? We turned it into interceptions. So it's just one of those things where I never kind of understood some of the people freaking out about us not getting sacks. And you saw it this game. It was consistent pressure, and like the sacks are a good stat to have, but if the offense isn't going to give them to you and make other stupid decisions, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams, they favor the pressure statistics over the sack statistics. I mean, me and you mentioned over the last several weeks, they were consistently putting pressure on the quarterback, still, allowing minimal amount of points to be put on the board, but they weren't getting home. This week, they finally got home 4 times. And so that was great. We got 2 interceptions. Defense played lights out from start to finish. I mean, Emmanuel Forbes and Kobe Durant were just all over the place. I mean,
well, let's focus on the D line, and then we'll talk about the secondary, because I just real quickly, Zach, want to hit on the other point. Like, me and you were very clear last season, especially last season, first half, we were like, they're getting pressure, but there's an issue with us not getting sacks and not finishing certain plays. And that isn't the same case the last 3 games when we weren't getting sacks. It was more of an offensive scheme around our pressure, and we were still applying pressure. We weren't missing sacks, let's say, just to kind of nail that point a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, the pressures was more the focal point that we should be looking at, and then the sacks is just a fun extra if they can get home.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good. Couple weird things that I noticed. One, Kyren Williams as the punt returner and kickoff returner. That was kind of weird.
I
just
don't
weird.
know what they're trying. Maybe they saw something on film that just said that they did try some of the weird side kick stuff, and they got a flag, right?
Yeah,
a flag 1 kickoff. So maybe they saw something on film. They just wanted someone they thought it sure-handed.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier Smith is obviously not in there. Typically, though, it's been Corum and Whittington, I believe, that have been usually doing them. I just thought it was odd to see Kyren all the way, taking those out. Nevis, again, I think he's great. I mean, he got all of his extra points. He got 2 of his field goals, hitting a 52-yarder.
Yeah.
Both of them looked, right down the middle. He also was able to do the kickoff. It's the first time he did the kickoffs too. So that's also another plus that, it feels like we're finally finalizing possibly the kicker. Obviously, I've been a big supporter of Cardi. I think he has potential with that dirty ball. But Mevis, what he has going for him is what seems to be, even with a protection issues, he's unfazed and is still able to make a straight shot hit.
Well,
One of those field goals, I believe, was very close, if not almost tipped.
His speed is a lot quicker currently, and this can change with Cardi, right? Like over time in operation, and it's hard to blame a lot of Cardi's issues on him when there's been so many problems with just the entire operation, and even the protection this game was sloppy. So, but his kid, like his time, his windup has been so long. I think Mavis is just doing at a quicker rate, because if he was half a tick later, it would have been blocked. And Zach, this would have been a lot less fun pod if it was blocked, because we would have probably spent half the pod talking about this very same issue. And they're probably treating it as if it did get blocked, because it is kind of a miracle it didn't.
Yeah. I mean, and we've kind of said, like, we don't think it's 100% Cardi. We really think it's a lot of the protection scheme. And, you know, Alan Davis, I believe he was the one who kind of let that through. They got to be better. They gotta do their assignments well, because, again, you know, McVay has not been willing to kick field goals the last several weeks. This week they had a significant lead. I think it was 28. It was 28-7 maybe before they were able to, you know, kick field goals. So they had a very big cushion. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, to follow up on that, and we've been kind of saying, like, we both kind of hypothesize, like, oh, they don't feel comfortable in the kicking situation outside of Mavis to really kick those long field goals. And I think this kind of proved it. The fact that there's still something on tape that people are getting through the line this easily is ridiculous. It really is. And in a close game, I'm going to be honest, Zach, outside of like being in the 50 or 45 and it's like 4th and long or something like that, I want them to go for it every time, unless if it's like on the 2 or 3 yard line and it's like an extra point.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that they've been very smart in how they've been utilizing that, and really taking more of a
longs.
Yeah, they've been more aggressive in the 4th down territory to kind of continue the push, which I've been in favor of. I mean, when you're down that far down, and you know you've been having some issues, I think that that's the smarter way to go, for definitely for the special teams.
A quick comment from Steve here, Zach. He says, "What up, my dudes? Favorite Thanksgiving dish is not a typical one, but my family used to have it on Thanksgiving every year, Korean short ribs." Oh my gosh, Steve. There's a place called So up in DC or near DC. Delicious Korean short ribs, and I love it. I definitely get it. You can just eat those things for hours. Fantastic. So I definitely agree with your choice of food there. And thank you for commenting.
Yeah, if you guys are watching us live either on X or on YouTube, please make sure that you join us in the conversation. Whatever topic we're talking about, feel free to chime in, and we will definitely bring up your comment. Let's talk about the receivers a little bit, because we got Devontae Adams having another great game. 5 receptions, 62 yards, but 2 touchdowns, both beautiful plays. Another nice fade from Matthew Stafford on the 1 yard line. Kind of that jumper ball. It was beautiful to see. But outside of that, I mean, all the receivers were really coming out there. I mean, you got Parkinson, Mumfield, Whittington, Kyron Williams, all those guys caught every single one of their passes that were thrown to them. Davis Allen, he had 3 catches, but he was targeted 4 times. So, you know, obviously Puka and Devontae are going to get the bigger share of the passes, but it's really great seeing that those, you know, our secondary receivers and our tight ends are contributing and are not just dropping the ball or, you know, missing the pass it's a really good sign that we have great weapons from all fronts.
Yeah, Puka with 7 receptions for 97 yards, a few really beautiful catches in there too. Devontae, first off, let me start off with the positive. Beautiful in the red zone. His footwork, his release, it is just hang it up, because all the people trying to say it's like easy touchdowns, they don't know ball, because it looks easy on TV because he's able to fool these cornerbacks into thinking he's going inside when he's going out, and vice versa. And Stafford's ball placement is just it really is the best I've ever seen a QB play for the Rams under McVay, and he's playing far better than he played in 21, and that's a pretty high bar, Zach. It really is. I think he had a no looker that was to Parkinson. It just the stuff he's doing on day-to-day basis is amazing, and these wide receivers are getting it done too. A few good catches by Weddington, but going back to Devontae, it is a little concerning that they are still on the option routes, still some miscommunications. We had that on one where that was on, I believe, a third down in the second half. Got to get that fixed up. And Devontae is having some weird drops where he's wide open and he's just dropping the ball, especially when he jumps. And I've noticed it's when Stafford throws these kind of high balls to be safe. And it's one of those things where he's on a heater and they're accurate, they're just high. And it's like when Devontae's jumping, he's just something with the brain isn't clicking.
Yeah, I just don't think that I still think that there's still a learning curve to how Stafford throws the ball.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's had chemistry obviously in the past with with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and those guys have been kind of with him throughout training camp, things like that. I think again, having Stafford not be at training camp with that back injury, I think really did a little bit of a setback. And because Matthew Stafford is so good, because Devontae Adams is so good, they're making it work, and it's a little bit here and there that we're seeing it. I think this week was a lot better than last week's drop passes. I think there was one that, he really wish he would have had. The other two, I think were, again, it might've been like the option routes where, he's still not fully integrated with how Stafford does those option routes. But I think it's only going to get better. Devontae Adams, he says he's having the time of his life. He's really, getting in there, doing the dirty work too. And, I keep saying this, I think each and every week, but he was our missing piece for our red zone trouble.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad he's there.
Hey, we said it all off season. I know I went on a fantasy podcast and I told people, I was like, hey, he's going to be a red zone monster for us, because for as good as what Robinson did with us, he was nowhere near the level of Devontae, and you can tell we were just so desiring a guy who's able to kind of like do any fade or do any inside route, and his footwork, and we mentioned it earlier, his release is so good. And I think with the options route, Zach, some of it's on the QB too. So the QB has to be able to kind of read the tails of the wide receivers, and they have like a secret kind of like language with that comes with that. And it's interesting to see. Hopefully that can grow. It's a slight nitpick. I think Devontae has been great, and he's been, like you said, the secret sauce to this offense to kind of unlock it. And, they were firing on all cylinders when they were really, let's say, when they thought it was a competitive game. They were firing on all cylinders. Everything was working. Kyron was having a really good game. Corum had some good runs, and the Bucs, for the most part, they were bleeding a lot up and down the field defensively, not able to do much against us.
Yeah, I mean the Bucs defense was obviously more focused on stopping the run. I don't really think, we ran for 19 times, but it didn't feel like we ran a whole lot. We were more passing it and moving the ball down the field through passes than really to run the ball. We didn't hit 100 yards. Yeah.
So that, yeah.
But
Kinda
for us,
counteract.
yeah. So for us though, for us running the ball, we were very limited. I think we didn't even cross 100 yards for both of our running backs. So it is what it is. So while we kind of wrap up this segment, and so that we can talk about the Carolina game, I'll say two things. One, it was a great game. I'm going to start with the positives. This was a total dominant game. Our offense played amazing. Our defense played amazing. Our special teams was great. I won't say amazing yet because I think pass protection still need to work on. I'm going to nitpick though. 3 nitpicks, 1 for each side. Offense, got to make sure we're having 4 quarters of play, or at least 3 quarters of good play. Second half, we seem to struggle to move the ball down the field other than, one drive where we got the field goal. On the defensive side, what was my defensive side? I had one, and stopping the quarterback. When you have someone who's a mobile quarterback, whether you think, when someone's able to scramble, it is still hard for this Rams team as a defense to make the stop. Got to work on that. Again, small. They usually do pretty good pressure. They're starting to implode the offensive line to prevent the scrambles. But once a quarterback is able to scramble, that's what I thought. But again, very minute. Special teams, obviously pass protection.
So I'll just put a quick comment on scrambling. We still haven't seen them fully handle a scrambling QB in a competitive game. I would be sure they would probably have 2 linebackers and have a spy potentially and just not blitz them. I'll be interested to see. We haven't seen Shula have to game plan around one because you're not going to put a spy on Teddy Bridgewater. If he runs, he's going to run, but he can't do that the entire game. And especially when you're playing from behind, there's kind of no point because you're going to run the clock out on yourself if you're just scrambling the entire time. So I kind of understand from a defensive point of view why you wouldn't really push it that much and you would just take those plays as is time-wise. So I kind of get it.
Yeah, fair. No, those are all fair.
Just real quickly, DB play as a big positive. Amazing. It sucks, and we'll kind of get into this about news. Sucks we kind of lost McCreary in this game on his first snap. That is a brutal thing to happen. Lost him in the first snap, but everyone like Curl our safeties were playing out of their mind, and then Forbes is looking like a steal. He has grown so much. And you got to give credit to the player and the coaching staff for kind of giving his confidence a big boost. He is playing electrically, and people were yelling. Yeah,
he's a first-round pick for a reason. We see why he was drafted in the first round. The Rams just were able to execute it well because of how well they coach their players.
Well, the player himself too has grown.
100%.
Yeah, you got to give him all the credit for changing the mindset and growing into the role. And I feel like we can talk in the offseason more about how impressive this Rams culture is, that they can take these players that had been in rough spots. A lot of people didn't realize how well Cam Curl played for the Commanders. But he played really well. It's just that Commanders culture and defensively was in a really rough spot in years prior. And when the Rams got him, they have to rehabilitate these guys who have talent and can play. And it was there on tape. And I saw it in a lot of times when I saw Commanders games. He was making fantastic plays. But they can't get up to their full potential. And now you see with Emmanuel Forbes, the same thing. He's getting to his full potential. And of course, the players have to play like that. But part of it is also the Rams culture and the coaching staff. So it's a lot of things have to go well. It's a moving, living organism. And it's hard to run a football team this high of a level. And we have to give Sean McVay and a lot of the other coaches a lot of credit. Not a lot of teams get this. And
A
where
lot of it's a mental game, and you have to fix the mental game. And I think that's what the Rams have. They have the coaching staff, whether it's Audrey Pleasant or whether it's Chris Shula or Sean McVay. They're building a culture that is focused on the players, not just the game. And when you focus on the players instead of the game as a whole, that's where you're going to find more success and putting everything into the players. And so I think we've seen it so many times throughout Sean McVay's tenure here, that everything has to go back to him and how he wants his team and his coaches to really play the ball.
Yeah. No,
all right. So we're going to move on to the news segment real quick. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube page, youtube.com/@EastCoastRams. It's the day before Thanksgiving, kind of usually like a slow week, ramping things up. People are going, holiday stuff, but the Rams are making moves. They are wanting to continue their hot streak. The Rams had some roster moves today. We are getting back Tutu Atwell and Akella Witherspoon. They've opened up the window, and it was said today that McVay expects them both to play on Sunday. Well, they may be limited in their snap count, but they should be good to go. What is your thoughts on those two return?
It'll be nice to kind of have the speedster. Tutu has played really good this season with the limited opportunities he's gotten. Really will help stretch. And you saw this in the Colts game specifically. I'm not talking about TD, just the way he's able to move zones back. And I know people were kind of like, involved Tutu more involved. He was involved. He just, with this offense, we don't need to take a 50-yard bomb when we don't have to, when you have an almost guaranteed 30-yard pass, right? Like, why try to throw it in the double coverage? You're trying to move, and a lot of defenses, especially this year with the two high man shell, it's just those are low percentage throws. But you are moving those shells further back, giving Puka and Devontae a lot of open room in the middle of the field. And we've been feasting on that. So having Tutu back will be very useful. And Akella will be very big, especially against kind of bigger athletic wide receivers, which we haven't really had to face any in the last few weeks, thankfully. And it's going to be kind of very, very big to have him in. I think Tet, he's a big, very strong guy. It's a really good matchup to kind of get him back and be able to play in this one.
Yeah, 100%. Akella Witherspoon, luckily he fractured his scapula, not his collarbone, which is why apparently he can come back early, or he come back sooner and better. So that's good for him. But yeah, I agree exactly everything that you said about Tutu. Definitely gives, I think, the pressure off of like Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who are, kind of double covered quite a bit because they don't have someone who's taking off the top. But if you do take off the top, then you're starting to have to push back one or two players to make sure that, they don't do those explosive plays. So that's grateful for that, especially also since we also don't have Xavier Smith, who kind of was that intermediary, obviously not as speedster as Tutu, but was kind of filling in that role.
Also real quickly, like Tutu can also do a lot of short stuff because people play him back so much. And you've seen this like a pseudo screen where like they'll motion him over, and then Puka and Devontae will be there. They'll go out and block, and they'll do a quick little strike to Tutu. And you see them do that every once in a while because people are playing Tutu so far back, especially if they're a man. So McVay has been in his bag this year, and that's just like off 11 personnel concept, not considering a lot of the motion stuff with 13 personnel.
Yep. Other news, Roger McCreary, he played one snap against the Bucs, and he is in IR. So really sucks that, for McCreary, it's terrible. Any thoughts about that before we kind of talk about, who might be filling in that spot?
I was excited to see him play, and we don't know how good it would have been. I think he would have been a really good position. It's kind of lucky timing for us considering who we picked up, and I feel like he'll be able to fill in the role and uh, yeah, not too long out of this defense, but we can kind of bring up that next story.
Yeah. So the Seahawks released Darion Kendrick yesterday. It was yesterday, right? And then the Rams signed him today. And, our own Ashton was the one who suggested that the Rams should bring him back and has been a big supporter of Deion Kendrick since really he became a Ram. So you must be feeling pretty good about this one.
I mean, since he was in Georgia, like I just feel like he's been really good. He's gotten some unfair flack. And first off, to address the people saying like, oh, he would have stayed on the Seahawks if he was playing good. The Seahawks have a lot of slot corners, and they just got Diggs back, slot DBs, I'll say. And they just like activated Diggs, I believe, from my art. So, and they're paying him a lot of money. They're not going to keep a vet minimum player, even if he's playing really good, over someone like Quandre Diggs, which they think is an all-pro talent. He is an all-pro talent. But either way, that doesn't mean Kendrick was playing bad. He was actually opposite. He didn't play every snap. I think he's been playing like around 30-40% of the snaps for Seahawks defense. But he's been playing really good. He's had really great coverage grades for whatever those are worth. But just like the eye test and you watch some of those games, he's played fantastic when he's been called upon. And he played fantastic for the Rams, especially last year. He's grown a lot. Even the years where he was having the start on the outside, which has never been his preferred kind of alignment, he's played solid. And I just feel like people were too unfair given the fact that he was playing out of position. And even then, he wasn't playing as bad as the criticism. There was criticism to be had, and I was always open to that. I never said he was a DB1 or anything like that, but he did get unfair criticism, and I was just honest about that. And I'm happy he signed back. He should have a quick turnaround, and hopefully he plays good and up to what he's been doing for the rest of this year with the Seahawks.
I just think that the Rams were just so focused on he was just beat out by the talent that was already in that back space. And so they just didn't have a spot for him. And I think he probably would have.
Lake's been playing at an all-pro level.
Yeah. And so I really think that it was just one of those things where it was like it didn't make sense to hold on to him. The Seahawks picked him up, didn't work out for them, and we need continued depth pieces right now. And DK knowing the system, he kind of, I felt like he was more of a flag target a little bit, but hopefully with his over the offseason, his time with the Seahawks and things like that, some of those things can be addressed and we can move on. But like I said, he's a talented DB. Like you said, I think some of it was unfair rap towards him, but
he's not perfect. Like I'm not here saying he's an all-pro. He's going to be Ramsey shut down. I just said he's a good role player in a decent to really good cornerback 3, especially in the slot. Yeah. Like he'll be good. He's not going to be great. I would have to see more McCreary in our system. So it'll be interesting to see next year we get McCreary back if I would like him more or less. But I think I was fine with the decision of putting Lake over him in that position, and it's been proven right. Lake played great, but with Lake out, we'll see if he can pick it back up and who will kind of play that slot position, or if he'll slowly get rotated in there.
Yep. Last thing that they did today, because they did more things, was they signed to the active roster tight end Nick Vanette from the Vikings.
Ooh.
Yeah, from the Vikings. Picking up another tight end. I think that McVay really wants to focus more on 13 personnel. And I think it was because without Higbee, I think it really limited them this past week on really utilizing it. I got to find the numbers on what percentage they use 13th personnel, but I don't think it was as strong as that was the previous week, or as effective as it was the previous week. So, just another tight end that they're bringing in to kind of not counteract, but kind of help what we currently have with Davis and Allen. I don't know if it's because Ferguson, yes, he's had kind of a couple explosive plays, but other than that, it's been kind of underwhelming a little bit. His debut, we didn't see him for weeks. We saw him a couple times make some decent catches, but we've also seen him quite a bit missing passes that he should be able to catch. So again, not sure what's really going on with that situation, but McVay obviously wants to continue bringing in, tight ends.
Yeah. So Nick Vanette is his nickname is Baby Gronk. He has been in the league, and I was like, oh, is he like someone they scouted in the draft and wanted to pick up and just like got him off of Minnesota? No, he's 32 years old, been in the league since 2016, and yeah, or 10 years. Sorry, he's been in the league 10 years, and he has played with a ton of teams. So got a veteran tight end.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, interesting.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about Carolina. Carolina just came off of a loss in Monday Night Football to the 49ers. It was a game where obviously I want the 49ers to lose, but then at the same time we're facing the Carolina this week, so I didn't really want them to win and kind of like running a high themselves. It was an ugly game. It was a stupid game to watch on both sides of the field. So I'm not going to talk about them, like that game specifically, but it was awful to watch. But in the end, Carolina did come out as the losers of that one, losing quite a few players to continue their kind of not their injured reserve list, but their injury report for this week. It's
one non-injured where one of their players is disqualified for this game because he decided to, let's say, punch a no-no spot, Zach, on purpose.
We do not punch people in the no-no squares.
Yeah, you don't do that if you're playing professional football.
No. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. And he was actually probably their best player. That it felt like their best player that night.
Oh no! Morrig. I'm trying to think what college. Yeah, he I believe got drafted to the Raiders, and then 3 years ago, I loved him coming out of college. But he was a good player for the Raiders, and he's been a really good player for the Panthers. I think he was someone I wanted us to sign. I don't know if he was available a year ago or not, but he's a good player. Not something you should do, Zach. So,
definitely not.
Not going to be playing.
Yeah, I mean, everyone could come into this seeing that this is a trap game for the Rams. They have been such a hot hand, but you have one of their top cornerbacks out, another one of their cornerbacks,
All-Pro
Horn.
JC Horn is playing at an all-pro level.
He may be playing this week.
Zach, I would say right now he's the closest thing, in my opinion, to what prime Jalen Ramsey was with this Panthers. He is really physical, really good in the man situations. Because I watched him a lot. He's from South Carolina, is why I know how good he is. And he had a rough first year in the league, but after that, it's been like rocket up for him, and he's been really good these last 2 years. So it really sucks for their defense. That's going to be really, really – they needed someone like him to cover Devontae or Puka.
They do. I mean, he's currently under concussion protocol, so we will see.
Normally, they do not play, especially since they played Monday night. I think if he would have played Sunday, there would have been a chance, but typically people don't get out of concussion protocol that quickly.
I'm trying to see where I can find that, but
We won't know that
yeah, he did
until
not
like,
practice on Wednesday is the last note that we have.
yeah, he won't be able to practice and probably until Friday.
Yeah.
But we won't know right before the game, and I would imagine he will play.
They have a couple people. Claudine Sherless, he's their linebacker, also has a concussion, did not practice today. Christian Roseboom was a hip hamstring non-participant at practice. We do know him. Let's see. Their center, Cade Mays, was questionable. Don't have any more updates on him. Chandler Savala, a guard, is also questionable.
I will say their O-line has played really good this year. They have been really one of the top O-lines at keeping Bryce Young kind of as clean as someone who holds the ball forever, like Bryce Young tends to do, can. Like, I think a lot of his sacks aren't because the line is just getting destroyed instantly. Carolina's done a good job rebuilding that line.
Especially since two of their guards are also on injured reserve. So,
yeah. We'll see. They've been having issues lately because of the injuries. And in that 49ers game, you could tell when pressure gets to Bryce Young, he does not make good decisions.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a rough game to watch. I do like Bryce Young. I thought he was going to be like a rock star coming into this league. Right now he's sitting on 200 just over 2,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, but 9 interceptions. That's not a really good TD to interception ratio. Coming on a quarterback who is 30 touchdowns to 2 interceptions with Stafford. So their defense is going to get some work out of them. One of their stars was Dottle coming in. He's played pretty well, 174 carries for 871 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about Dottle?
Clearly should have been running back one, and it's kind of nuts that they kept on trying to start Chuba Hubbard. Not that Chuba is like exactly a terrible player. He's a good running back, but Dowdle is electric with the ball in his hands. He's one of those guys that it is crazy that the Cowboys let him go, especially for Javonte Williams, who hasn't had a terrible year. But Dowdle is just way more electric, especially at this point in his career. And when he gets going, and especially behind a really good O-line like this, it's not surprising to me that he has been kind of able to take off. And he's the one guy I think this Rams defense has to focus on outside of Ted. Ted is a really good special kind of talent. He's grown a lot. He struggled a little bit early on in the season, but as he's gotten more chemistry, kind of with his QB, I think a lot of their passing issues is more on the QB side than Ted. I think Ted is consistently open, and he's really good at catching it anywhere that ball is placed. His catch radius is insane. So those are the two weapons that you have to kind of lock down. And, if any defense can, it's really ours.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge for Bryce Young to get anything really accomplished with our our front and then going into our secondary. I mean, we've been really good at stopping the run. I mean, especially when we've gone up against Saquon Barkley, when we've gone off Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, we've been able to pretty well contain a lot of those run games. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. The one thing about Dottle, I mean, he's had some great performances, but we'll see if he can continue with that. He's had 3 games where he's had over 100 yards. One of them was to Miami. He had 206 yards. One was to Dallas for 183 yards. And then to Green Bay, which is maybe the best of those 3 for defenses go, with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Otherwise, going up against the Saints, he had 18 carries, averaging 2.9. Going up against the Falcons, he had 19 carries, going up for averaging 2.4. And then against the 49ers, he only had 6 carries, with averaging about 6.3 for those 6 carries.
Yeah, so like this year, the Falcons have been really like when they're on the road, they have played pretty atrociously. When they're at home, with the exception of like 1 or 2 games, they've been relatively a lot more stable and better. They have lost games at home, and it's still like a very like hit or miss offense. But I don't understand these coordinators that don't want to give their best players, especially in an offense that has limited playmakers, give your best playmakers the ball more consistently. If you can line up Chuba Hubbard in the backfield and then have Dowdle lined up as a wide receiver or tight end, like do that. If he can block, get creative, give him the ball more in the passing game and kind of force defenses to be more horizontal. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You're trying to get some of these, let's say, average wide receivers, decent wide receivers, the ball more in a passing game that like you really struggle to maintain at times. But that's my personal opinion. I don't think they'll end up doing that. So
yeah, you look at this. Their passing yards are 27th in passing. They're 11th in rushing. Points for, so they've only been scoring about an average of 18 points per game. Points a get, which is 28th in the league. And then they have been allowing their opponents to score 22.4 points per game, which is 14th in the league. So they're going to have their hands full. Like I said, they have some talent on their team. I love a lot of their players that they have. But yeah, it's going to take a lot for this Carolina team to really strike a nerve to this kind of firing on all cylinders Rams team.
yeah, so really the Panthers have only won 2 games when the opposing offense has scored more than 22 points. And that's the Cowboys and the Dolphins, so arguably 2 of the worst defenses in the entire league. I guess the Falcons too, but that was an overtime win there. So, yeah, I mean, Falcons also a hit or miss defense, but not as bad as Cowboys or Dolphins.
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, like, I kind of, I look at them and I'm like, who is their toughest team that they've faced so far? Realistically, it is probably the Cowboys and Green Bay, which they both and the Bills, obviously, which they lost to the Bills pretty dramatically. But the Cowboys and the Packers, they were able to kind of over get them at their location. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, they haven't really shown the ability because they haven't really played elite defense this year outside of the Patriots, and they got smacked by the Patriots really badly. Yeah. So that's the only them and the 49ers are the 2 best defenses they have played because the Packers defense has arguably not really played that good, at least up to the level of their talent.
Yeah, I will say, holding the 49ers again, they kind of had a late score game. It was kind of a low score game for most of the game itself.
It didn't play bad. Their defense wasn't bad last week.
No, I don't think so. I mean, their defense took 3. They picked Purdy off 3 times. I think that their defense played well.
Than the defense.
Sure, but you're also losing those key players who made those plays. So that's not it's not great.
Yeah, that I would say 2 of those were on Purdy, and the one J.C. Horn had was just you should not throw at J.C. Horn if he's on the field. It's like Jalen Ramsey. You should just learn not to target the wide receiver outside of like very few wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah. Bryce Young is a scrambler. He will scramble some yards. So again, that's kind of a key point that that the Rams are going to need to focus on a little bit, knowing that he can scramble and need to. But obviously, it's going to be. Yeah, right. I mean, and just put the pressure on him. I think if you do put the pressure, it's gonna kind of joggle a little bit with him. So we'll see. But I think, between the scrambling, that could be an issue for us. Dottle, who has, like kind of these up games and down games, depending on if they want to, play Chuba Hubbard or not. I think they just need to kind of.
I think it's been more the games they can't throw that people are like loading the boxes and like their wide receivers aren't getting a lot of separation. I know Jalen Coker just came back a few weeks ago. So like their wide receiver depth hasn't been fantastic outside of Ted. And Coker is like good. I would say like above average to good. I need to watch him a little bit more, but for the most part, he's been solid. So maybe getting him back can help out the offense a little bit more because the rest of that wide receiver core just hasn't been that great, at least from the games I've seen. So,
yep. It's a weird one. It's definitely going to be a weird game. Me and you both will be there. So yeah, anybody who's, watching us live or watching us after the fact, we both will be there.
6-0. Zach, 6-0. Going
I'm
for
not
the
giving
6.
my record. Not giving my record. I will be taking my son, so it'll be. What'd you say?
Well, we'll get you there.
Hopefully,
we'll get you up to
hopefully
500.
I'm kind of like Stafford, who I really need to try to push sometime to get to the 500 level. Hopefully, it doesn't take me as long as Stafford though to get to 500 in my viewing record live.
Yeah,
but it'll be fun. It'll be an interesting game. Weather's going to be kind of chilly. It's going to be upper 40s, low 50s, possible rain chances.
Someone in Minnesota is listening to you, Zach, and be like, "That's not chilly. That's not cold." But
I'm in Indiana. It's cold today. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. I will say this is the second time I've been to the Panthers stadium. The Rams played them in 2019, week 1, and we won off of the last drive. And that was, I think, the last season Cam Newton was there at Carolina. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what goes down. It's a nice stadium. I would say it's a good stadium. It's not great. I've been better. Like Atlanta is nice. We'll be there a few weeks later too, but I'm excited to kind of see it. Very blessed to be able to go. Wasn't able to go to the Ravens game, which I was telling you, Zach, that would have been weird that both Raven games I got to go to would have been Tyler Huntley, but is what it is.
It is what it is. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's, hopefully we'll get a chance to kind of meet up and get to see each other in person. I'm coming in for family, so we'll see how much time we got going on, but we'll at least get a photo op before we head out of the stadium for sure.
Yeah, me and the wife are going. We're going to try to enjoy Charlotte a little bit and then hopefully watch a pretty good game because that line is pretty high, Zach, so it kind of makes me nervous.
It always makes me nervous. I don't want it to be a trap game. Come on, give me this one, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but we have seen I will say, outside of one game in Sean McVay's tenure, this team always comes out at least like they're prepared for at least a half. So the question is like, can we just come out, execute, and kind of like foot on neck for the rest of the game if it ends up being one of those games? That Jets 2019 or Jets 2020 still haunts me.
Yeah, I mean the defense would have to kind of implode for major things to happen, but it's always a possibility.
It would only take you going to a game for the defense to implode, Zach.
I know, but I'm going. I've already bought my tickets. I'm going.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to see a lot of people there who've watched us in the pod. Yes, no imploding this weekend.
we are superstitious, Steve. We're very superstitious. So yeah, hopefully it's just a good, fun game. I know my wife would like a more competitive game. I'm sure his family would like a more competitive game. Me and Zach, if it's not a competitive game, I'm not saying it won't or will be, but if it's not, Zach, me and you will not, sweat it. We'll enjoy it.
As long as it's a Ram dominant game, we won't sweat it.
Oh yeah, I'll be angry. I'll be angry. Hopefully
For
not.
sure.
Don't
But it'll be
speak
fun.
that into existence.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun. It'll be my son's first game going to see any football game, but specifically seeing the Rams play. So I'm really excited. He's super excited. Hopefully we'll have a
What
great
jersey
time.
is he wearing?
He doesn't. He has a hand-me-down jersey that's kind of starting. The numbers are starting to kind of fade off a little bit. He needs a new one.
You can just replace it. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to replace it now. It's kind of too late. Well, that it's tomorrow's Thanksgiving and stuff. But I got him. He has a nice Rams shirt and a nice Rams sweatshirt, and we'll probably have to be layered up as it is, anyways. So it will be fun. It'll be fun. We're excited. Hopefully, we can catch a peek at some players and things like that. So it'll be a good time. Be a great time. Always good to have family. Going to games with family is very well worth it. Got anything else before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing if you guys see us. Feel free. We've had a few people walk up to us at games before. We always appreciate it and love it, and we do this because we love the team and always appreciate you guys listening, commenting, and interacting with us.
Yeah, it's always great. We made some great friends over the last several years, just going to these games and being able to meet you guys and bringing you on the pod and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure that if you're watching us, reach out to us, ping us beforehand. We'll try to meet up with you at the game. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Just looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we also don't get the opportunity to go, given the name as consistently. So it's a treat. We try to savor it.
That's right. We get to a couple games a year if we're lucky. So we're excited that we're making it happen for you all.
And I'm just pointing out the only game that has ever gone into overtime I've gone to was the one Zach attended. So
but it finished strong.
We did.
All right, everybody. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of East Coast Rams Podcast. We are so excited that we're going to be able to bring you live commentary from North Carolina. It's just Carolina. Panthers. Bank of America Stadium on Sunday. It's going to be really fun. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at East Coast Rams Pod. That's where I'll be throwing up a lot of the photos from the pregame, during the game, post game. So make sure that you guys keep up track with that. That's also where you can find us on Threads at East Coast Rams Pod. You can find us on X. That's where we're most lively as far as community goes. We are at East Coast Rams. You can find Ashton at RamFanAshton1, and you can find me at Zac Mayer. If you're watching this on demand, please go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at East Coast Rams. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our page. If you are watching this on Spotify, give us a 5 stars. If you're watching this on Apple Music, give us a 5 stars. Anywhere you're watching, 5 stars, leave us a comment. We would love to see that. Next week, we will figure out, since we're both traveling to to Carolina. Yeah, we're gonna figure out our pod schedule for next week. But we will make sure we'll give you all of the live coverage, show you all of the photos that we've taken. It's going to be a fun episode, I think, next week. Hopefully, maybe even have a special guest or two. It's going to be good. Got some good plans coming up, guys.
Got stuff cooking.
Just not like Baker did on Sunday Night Football. And with that, we are going to wrap it up, and we will see you guys next time.